Fraser Fast Track, the Fraser Institute's look at some of the week's key news stories. I'm Leah Costello. This week we're joined by Professor Alexander Moens, Senior Fellow at the Fraser Institute and also a Professor of International Relations at Simon Fraser University, discussing Canada-US relations. Professor Moens, why do you believe that a successful relationship with the United States is so critical now more than ever?
The relationship is more important now than ever because the United States economy is in great trouble. We trade 3/4 of our trade with the Americans, and half of our income comes from that trade. So we have a lot at stake in the outcome of this crisis, and we have a lot at stake in terms of how well President Obama's policies will fare in the future.
So you recently completed a study looking at how Canada's Parliament viewed the United States. Can you tell us some more about this study and why you think it's so significant?
Well, knowing how important the relationship is, we wanted to find out what Canadian politicians, what important Canadians thought and said about this relationship. So we went to look at the Parliament's debate to see whether parliamentarians are speaking in favor of better relations with the Americans or speaking against better relations with the Americans.
And based on the results, what did you find is the prevailing attitude of our politicians towards the U.S.?
We looked at the period from 2002 through 2008, and we found very interesting results. The Conservatives were very steady. They were positive. They sought for solutions with more cooperation, more goodwill. We found the NDP and the Bloc Québécois were very consistent, but very consistently negative. Didn't matter who was in government in Canada, didn't matter which party was in power, didn't matter what issues were at stake. They were against better relations with the United States, against more cooperation on almost all issues. The Liberals were very interesting. When they were in government, they spoke well of the Americans. The moment they were in opposition, they used the Canadian attitude towards the United States as a political tool to increase their power.
Well, given your point that Canada's prosperity is so dependent upon our trading relationship with our southern neighbours, should this be cause for concern?
Yes, it should be a big cause for concern because Parliament sets the tone and politicians set the tone of our relationship, and American policymakers watch what we do and what we say. And we need, above all, a very positive attitude and an attitude of cooperation. And frankly, in almost all the policy issues we face, we need to work together with the Americans. So poisoning the atmosphere through partisan reasons or through ideological reasons is going to hurt the Canadian national interest.
What specifically then do you recommend for public figures when discussing issues that are important to the Canada-US relationship?
To seek cooperation on such important things as the border, for example, or to avoid trade protectionism. Inflammatory language, as was used by many parties in Parliament, will not help. The Americans have their concerns about the border, we have our concerns, and the best way to engage them is with cooperative language and cooperative attitudes.
Thanks, Alex, and thank you so much for joining us this week. To make sure that you get our episodes as soon as they're posted, sign up to the YouTube channel Fraser Institute or to the RSS feed at fraserinstitute.org/multimedia. We'll see you next week for Fraser Fast Track.